Correct. All right. This is Ranking of Cage Part 9, Raising Arizona. I'm Colton, joined by Quinn, Kudrow, and
Yo,
Josh. So, Raising Arizona from 1987. Uh, Raising Arizona opens with H.I. McDonough, or Hyde for short, played by Nicolas Cage, getting his mugshot taken by a police officer, and this police officer's name is Ed, and she is played by Holly Hunter. So they have this interaction where Hyde gets his mugshot taken, Hyde then goes to prison. After a time, he meets with the parole board and is released. Following this, we see the same process repeat a couple times where Hyde robs more convenience stores, goes back, gets his photograph taken by Ed, the police officer, and then goes to jail. And then after a time, meets with the parole board and they let him out. So over the course of this, he develops a crush on Ed. And after being released the third time, he proposes to Ed and they get married. So in the next phase, Hyde and Ed are living a happy life, and Hyde has a job at a factory. They're excited to have children, but eventually we find out that Ed cannot bear children. Then they try adoption, but Hyde has a criminal history. This inability to have children puts a depressing damper on their lives. But they see a news story about Nathan, Arizona, who is who is a well-known furniture chain salesman in the area. And the story is that they're having quintuplets, and there's a statement in there: "It might be more than we can handle." So Hyde and Ed go steal one of the 5 babies directly from the Arizona's house. They put a ladder on their car, drive there, literally take a baby from the house. After they arrive home with the baby, 2 of Hyde's friends from prison show up after breaking out. So they kind of just show up at his house. So like, we just broke out of prison, and this is Gail, played by John Goodman, and Evel, played by William Forsythe. So Ed is clearly displeased with the idea of them being around, especially since they literally just broke out of prison, and this creates a tension between Hyde and Ed. So moving on from that, the next day, Ed's friends are visiting with their 5 children and barraging the new parents with advice and things they must do. To cap it off, the husband of the visiting couple suggests to Hyde that they become swingers, and Hyde reacts by punching him in the face. So after this, it kind of blows up the whole thing with the friends visiting. So on the way home, they stop at a convenience store. Hyde goes into the convenience store and robs the place. And this leads to a wild chase through backyards and through a superstore. Then eventually, Hyde ends up back in the car with Ed. So after they get back, Gail and Evel hatch a plan where they tell Ed they're going to do something together, but instead they steal the baby from Ed. And in the process, Ed fights with Gail in the house, and they destroy. Sorry, not Ed. Hyde fights with Gail in the house, and they destroy the whole interior of the house. And they tie up Hyde, and they leave with the baby. So, after this, we saw earlier in the movie, Hyde had a dream about this character called the Apocalypse Rider, who's like a guy on a motorcycle with like, he's all grungy and covered in like dirty leather, and he rides a Harley. And in the first dream scene, you don't know if he's real, but then we find out he is real. And the Apocalypse Rider is trying to hunt down the baby to make a profit off of either returning it to Nathan, Arizona, or selling it to somebody else if Nathan won't pay. So we have everybody trying to chase after this baby. It gets left on the roadway because Gail and Evel forget about it. So eventually we have Hyde and Ed almost to the baby, but then the Apocalypse Rider shows up at the same time. So it's a fight for the baby. It all converges to a massive fight scene with the Apocalypse Rider. In the end, the Apocalypse Rider is kicking the shit out of Hyde, but he pulls the pin out of one of the grenades on the jacket of the Apocalypse Rider, and then when he gets thrown to the ground, he turns up, you see the pin, and then you know that he has a grenade that's about to explode. So grenade explodes on the Apocalypse Rider. Then after they get the baby back, they actually return the baby to the Arizonas because while they were chasing the baby down, Ed came to the realization that it was wrong to steal the baby in the first place and they wanted to return it. So they return it, have a cute conversation with the Nathan Arizona, and he's like, I'm not going to call the cops on you guys. And they tell him the whole story. Then it ends with Hyde has a dream where he sees the future. And he sees them with children and grandchildren in the future. And then we see that Gail and Evil just literally sneak back into prison the way they came out. They gave up on escaping and just went back to prison. So yeah, that is Raising Arizona. What did you guys think?
I thought it was funny at some parts, but they could have done without the biker dude.
The
Like, he really
Apocalypse Rider?
served. Yeah, he served no purpose to me.
Well, he
Like, it
served
was like,
as the yeah.
well, like, to me, they were going for like the slapstick like comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just threw in this weird like dream, like supernatural like ability that High has,
Yeah.
which includes the bike rider.
Right.
Where I think they could have just put law enforcement or like detective or something that wasn't like
I see what you're saying.
so way out there, because I think that took away from what they were going for.
I
Not
gotcha.
that what they were going for was the best, because I think what they did was very, very over the top.
Yeah.
And I think a great example is every single person's accent in the movie was just way, way over the top.
Did you not did that like take away from it for you?
No, I mean, I think I got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I don't think it was as necessary as they were meaning to. Maybe that was by design. I don't know. Because that's kind of the type of movie that it was. But yeah,
But I hear what you're saying, Quinn. Because to me, it also just felt like it was forced after so long. Where they're doing the whole movie, and you're like, however many 2 hours in, and you're like, why are they talking like this still?
Like where they're yelling in the car.
Yeah,
like, it was funny like the first time, but then like the second or third time, it was kind of like,
oh, okay. Yeah, exactly.
Go back to the biker for a second, though. I actually did find the biker kind of hilarious in a very meta way, because he's sitting here dreaming about this biker dude, and then like X number of years later goes on to play Ghost Rider, which I just immediately thought of when I saw Leonard.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that the Ghost Rider was real, because like it was a dream, and then like it was just actually no, he's real. I thought that like I was like, wait, is this guy real? And then like he walks into the office.
I never thought he wasn't. Well, I shouldn't say I never thought, but for how long they lingered on the first like scene of him, as soon as they lingered so long, I was like, okay, this guy's real for sure. Like, he's gonna show up somehow, some way. Like, they obviously put him in there for a reason.
Yeah,
they're spending a lot of time on him. He's gonna have a part in the movie, whether he's a dream or not. So, but I don't know. I see what they're going for. I think there were some funny parts, like John Goodman's character and whatever the other guy's name was. They were pretty funny.
Yeah, Gail and Evil. I love how they're
The original Shawshank. That's immediately what I thought of when they burst out of the ground. I was like, oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
And like, just I think my favorite thing is probably, in a way, the over the top characters, like the characters in the movie, like the Gail and Evil, like you're saying, like the way they're always just eating, and it's just so disgusting the way they do everything, and they're just always so dirty. And like with the scene where it cuts to him and they're like on the couch and there must be 40 beer cans, and then it goes to the floor and there's just shit all over the floor.
Right, cheese balls and
beer
cans, and
right, and they are
in the cereal.
And yeah.
But so much of that, after a while, it's just like, okay, we get it. Like, they're disgusting or whatever.
Right.
For
Yeah, I
me,
think-
I had a hard time getting into the movie over the whole duration of the movie, because by the time that he was like running through the grocery store stealing stuff, I was like not even shocked by what was happening. I was like, whatever, okay. And I just kind of I had a hard time with this one. I don't know. It just didn't really grab my attention.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think the very first scenes were my favorite. I don't necessarily think they drew me in, but just the way they were set up, it's this high guy, like that's his whole personality. He robs convenience stores. He has the urge to rob convenience stores, but he doesn't use bullets because he knows that if he uses bullets, he'll go to prison for too long.
Well, and just the fact that it's specifically convenience stores, like where he's like, I even started driving by the convenience stores. Like
Right.
it's just like it's like I think it's like the movie is a bunch of these amazing punchlines. Like with the it's like there were just parts where like
Right.
that were played so well. Like the scene with the baby where it's like they all of a sudden they can't have a baby and it's like happiness then just drops into sadness. Like in the way a lot of the stuff reminds me of Wes Anderson movies. I think this probably predates a lot of those, but
Yeah, like like immediate reversals of fortune.
yeah, and just
like
the over the
fate,
top
yeah,
characters, right. And the way everything's like framed, and then like right after they can't have a baby, like of course they try to adopt one, but then it's like, oh right, he's just a criminal. She like has a perfect record, and then his record is, so just the way it frames all this stuff, it's like it has really good like punchlines when they hit. But
Yeah. I think character design was one of the best aspects of the movie. They played into so many different caricatures, from Hyde to Ed to the furniture salesman who was like,
yeah,
to me, he was a used car salesman that made it big or whatever, and then the
Right.
convicts,
yeah,
the people at the bank, like
right. There was the small characters even had a
Right.
lot, like the guy that works at the factory. Just,
right.
like-
They and I think that's the Coen brother. They did,
The
or
Coen brothers,
it's the
yeah.
Coen brothers, right?
Yeah.
And they did the Big Lebowski too, right? So
Yep, they
I
did.
think,
yeah.
and so I kind of kept thinking about that too, and I think the Big Lebowski too is kind of a good example of good character design, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, John Goodman's in there, and obviously Jeff Bridges as well. So, but I thought the characters were really, really good in this movie. But
Yeah. The unpainted Arizona, unpainted furniture. Is that a thing from like the 80s and before? Because I was like, what is this? Was that I didn't know if that was a thing or if that was like part of a joke that I was missing.
Yeah, it sounds like a scam.
Yeah, because I wanted to like laugh at it, but then I'm like, wait, is this like a real thing that I just was unfamiliar with from the past?
Not familiar to me.
So I think my biggest gripe with the movie is like the way that they get themselves to the situations, like the way they get the baby, like the baby stealing thing. Like it's like, because they do all this stuff and they can't have the baby, and then like, oh, they see this story and they're just like, let's go steal this baby, and they just drive with put this ladder on top of their car, show up outside the house, just throw the ladder up. And that part was kind of almost like too outlandish. I'm like, you just walk up here and steal this baby, and then
Yeah. It was. I felt like. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
no, it's all right. Go ahead.
I just felt like it's really tough because I feel like I feel like watching the movie, I was like, this is like I don't know. It feels like a good movie, like it should be good, but like I didn't like it. It was like the there was like witty stuff in it or whatever, but I was officially in this movie watching this one. I'm officially sick of this character that Nicolas Cage plays, where he's like this crazy person who's also a genius somehow, or like is crazy or like really messed up some way, but like has some weird depth. I'm like officially sick of that. Like I'm like this movie. Like they were like, no, he's gonna be like a complete idiot, like a dumb criminal stealing babies and what. I was just like, I was sick of it. I didn't buy it, and I knew
I-
it was like a great performance from him or whatever, but like I just didn't buy it from him. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I think I liked the characters and just the one-off like parts enough that it carried most of it for me. Um, some of the chase scenes got a little wild.
I knew you were gonna say. I knew you were gonna talk about this.
Like it
I-
was it was funny they sent him through the different places and he goes to the store and then gets the what is like toilet paper from the store, like the second store he's running through.
Oh, it
Diapers.
was the diapers.
Diapers,
Yeah.
right? Diapers.
Yeah, I liked how proud he was when he was stealing the stuff from the convenience store with the pantyhose on his head. He was like, "Oh yeah, like I got these diapers, like I'm the hero." And then Ed's like, "What the fuck are you doing, like you idiot?" And he's like, "What did I do?" And he's like, "Oh, that's right. You're not supposed to rob shit." It's like, come on. But I think the beginning and the end of the movie were the best parts. The middle of the movie moved too
Yeah.
slow for me, and it didn't really do anything for me. Like I didn't want to
Yeah.
watch the middle of the movie.
I-
I think that
Yeah.
was a problem for me.
See,
For
it's kind
me-
of funny because like I had the opposite experience to some extent. Like I was not sucked into the beginning at all, and it really wasn't until the end where like things just really start to get wacky that I actually started to find myself getting entertained by it.
You didn't like the beginning, Kudrow, where it like repeats the same process of him getting locked up and robbing convenience stores?
I mean, it was good character establishment, but maybe that's only because I was so depressed by how realistic it is.
I
The
just loved
recidivism of it, the
I-
recidivism aspect of it.
I like that part a
reoffenders.
lot. The like repetition there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's like it's yeah, like it's entertaining, like it's funny to watch, but
Like I just feel like it was like I loved so many individual scenes in it. Like where he's like, "You were right, I was wrong," and he's walking back and forth in the house, and every time he walks back and forth, he has a bigger gun. Like he's got like a pistol, and then he says, "You were right, I was wrong," and every time he comes back, and then he ends up with like a huge gun, like the third time. It's
Yeah.
just stuff like that. I felt like those scenes were played so well. But I think you're right though, in that the overall story doesn't live up to how much I like those scenes.
but like you're right, like all those little moments are the best parts about the movie, but at the end of the day they kind of come down to gimmicks, you know? Like it's kind of a thing they're doing that's really funny or like a
Yeah.
way something said.
Right.
As opposed to being and the result like for me was like I just didn't feel invested. I was like, okay, whatever, like, you know, now they're gonna steal a baby, okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it was clear. I could tell it was like a fun movie, but like, I don't know. Maybe I just watched it. Maybe today was just a bad day for me.
You just didn't want to have any fun today.
I just couldn't get into it today. Yeah, yeah.
I like the kids that they brought over. They were just
Destroying
the
everything.
house
Yeah.
and like
Yep.
shot him with the water gun, wrote on the wall with I don't even know what that was, and then his dad throws like candy at him.
Yeah.
He's like all
right.
proud of that. It's like, oh yeah, child abuse, yeah. It's like what?
Yeah. Back to highlighting like the unintelligence of most of the characters in the movie, right? Like that's
Yeah.
it's yeah. Yeah, any other thoughts on this? Other scenes of note?
I don't know. It felt like schlock to me. It's the word that kept coming back to me.
There really was no like smart character in the movie though.
Yeah.
Pretty much every character in the movie was like stupid. Even the cops chasing, like that was so outlandish. Like they're shooting everything. They're shooting inside of a
Oh right.
house.
They were just
Yeah.
Right? It's like the convenience store clerk, the boy, he's chasing him, shooting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was absurd.
Yeah. I did appreciate all the places they went with the chase scene.
Right.
I,
Because
yeah.
everybody in that movie was just portrayed as so stupid.
The bank robbery with what was this, Gale and
Oh, Gale and Neville, yeah, where they rob the
Yeah.
bank and they all take it literally, and then
they're sitting.
Freeze!
They
Get on
told
the
you about
ground!
we're using code names, right? Yeah, using code names after using his real name.
My favorite was there was like, all right, count to 850 and then back down to 0. I'll be back to check in on you.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with like the schlock as you call it. I'm okay with the gimmicks. I think I had fun with just so many of the individual scenes, independent of like the overall plot line and its lack.
Yeah, I think because it's a comedy, and maybe it's due to the times of when it was made, we don't pay too much attention to the comedy because it's maybe not as funny as like a comedy would be today. I keep thinking about like Step Brothers. Like Step Brothers is a hilarious movie. I don't care about the plot, but there's all these individual scenes that like I can quote all the time that are just hilarious.
Right.
So, like I keep drawing comparisons to that where it's like, yeah, it's a funny movie. I don't really care about the plot, and I still think it's a decent movie because of those individual scenes where it made me laugh.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy because there are a lot of movies like that. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like a movie, like like from the early. Yeah, that's a great example. Like from a movie from the early 2000s. But this case, this was from what, 91?
87.
Right? 87. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was an enjoyable movie. Like if you're in the mood for it, kind of thing, right? It's not like I wouldn't say like across the board good movie by any means, but like it has its moments.
A good movie to watch it with a group if the group's never seen it before, I think.
right, maybe after a few drinks
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I'd say I feel like I almost wish we had watched this one as a group rather than Birdie.
Well,
I miss Birdie.
it's not how the dice rolls.
This just shows me that my movie watching experiences aren't actually rating the movies; it's rating the experience I had while watching it. Because I watched it with Colton and Kudrow, and it was Birdie's the best one I've seen so far. So
What?
I need to put Birdie as an A.
Oh my gosh.
No, but this was a weird movie. I'm like, how do I rank this though? Because I hear what you're saying, but like, it feels wrong of me to put it in the middle somewhere. Like, it feels like it was too smart. There was too much clever things they did for it just to be like a D or an E,
Yeah.
like just like an average movie. But like at the same time, I don't know. It's like, was it as good as just as a B or higher? I don't think so. I'm kind of leaning towards just putting it in the F. I'm just starting to put everything in F.
What?
Well, that's
For
no
myself.
Wow.
I just feel like it doesn't. I just feel like I need to retroactively re-examine these movies. I think most of them need to go down to F for me because I think I'm getting a. This is like my
If
sample.
everything's F,
If I-
then nothing's ranked out at all.
My sample's getting bigger though, right? So it's like at first you have like, and it's like no, they all kind of go down together, and then Ghost Rider's at the top, and that's it. No, I don't know.
Oh
What
my
a world of
gosh.
insanity.
Are we ranking then?
Yeah, what do you guys
Yeah,
think about
let-
the ranking?
Let's go ahead and rank it. I think that it is a fun movie and I love all the gimmicks in it. I really love the gimmick scenes. I think it is a B movie. So I'm gonna give it a B. I think it deserves a B. I'm not saying I don't think it's a movie you should watch, but you should watch it one time. There's a lot of funny gimmicks in it. Good characters, worth watching one time for sure. Yeah, you should watch this movie.
How good was it for Nicolas Cage moments?
Nicolas Cage moments. Well, he punches the guy in the face. He goes on that crazy chase scene where he runs.
Yeah, he's got a couple
Um,
moments, but he's more so just like a weird character in the whole thing.
Yeah, because he can't have too many crazy moments because he's supposed to be really unintelligent. So like
Right.
he just has to play his.
He's an idiot.
my whole thing is that everybody's crazy in the movie, so like he fits in.
Right.
Everybody's stupid. Everybody's crazy. I didn't really notice him that much in the movie.
Mhm.
I was focused on everybody else. Not everybody else, but I wasn't focused on any one character necessarily. Like I said, I wasn't following it for the plot, so I didn't really care too much what happened to High and Ed. It was more of like, oh, there's a funny scene. There's a funny scene. Oh, he's robbing the convenience store again. The cops are they're chasing him through a residential house. They're shooting, like, I don't know. It's just the Hellfire guy or the motorcycle guy shows
Apocalypse
up.
Rider.
Right. He blows up. They try to rob the bank. There's just so many things that was like, I wasn't focused on Nicolas Cage too much in this movie as much as other movies, which maybe is a good thing. I don't know. But I'm kind of between a B and a C plus as well. But I think I'm going to go with a B. Because the more I talk about it, the more fun I remember the movie being. So I
It's
think
a
I have to go with
funny
B.
movie to talk about. You can talk like, God, the
Yeah, there's
obsession.
a lot of funny moments.
I love the obsession with convenience stores.
Yeah, it feels like a very Pomo movie, like a very like would have been very avant-garde in like 1991, like the mundane average
Right.
day at the convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if Shawshank Redemption took that from this movie. Because it's literally frame for frame what happens in Shawshank Redemption.
Well, Shawshank was a novel first, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Stephen King novel, I believe.
Okay.
And
So,
I think yeah.
So maybe they took it and adapted it to the screen first.
All right, Kudrow, what's your ranking on this one?
I don't know. I'm kind of in the same position as Quinn. I was a little torn between a B and a C plus. Although I think I'm leaning more towards C plus, and the only reason I'm leaning that way is because, as I mentioned earlier, I was pretty uninvested in the beginning. This movie really wasn't sucking me in, but the latter half I thought made up for it. So I'm gonna go C plus.
That's weird. I loved the beginning. I absolutely loved the beginning of this movie. But
I was bored at the beginning.
Oh,
already.
really?
Yeah.
I can see why you could, because I think that was my initial thought was oh, I know where this is going. Like, he's already making eye contact with Ed. I know what's gonna happen. I don't need to watch it. But then it kept going. I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty funny. He's doing it for a reason. He's not using ammo. The parole board's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Well, since you didn't use any live ammunition,
right?
Then they let him out.
Except that's not at all the way the law works.
Well,
Just
that's
FYI.
Well, yeah. All right, Josh. What terrible rating would you like to?
I really want to give it an F, but there's just too many. It's just schlock. It's
This
like
council will sanction you.
You have 3 Fs already. You don't have above.
Oh
you
my!
have Leaving Las Vegas at a B. That's your highest rating.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
Yeah.
I'll give this one a C. I'll give this one a C. Because I'll give this one a C for all the funny moments.
All right.
Sounds like peer pressure is making you change your ratings.
No, I didn't watch this one as closely as the other ones. It wouldn't be right for me to give it an F. It had a lot of great moments in it.
It kind of just looks like you're just out to hurt some of these movies for no reason.
I give it a C for John Goodman.
All right, Raising Arizona. So I would like to argue this should go above Leaving Las Vegas and Racing with the Moon, and I think this movie deserves to be in the B tier. It's got way more than those two movies.
I agree. I think it should be our highest rated.
Also,
so
we
far.
can take like 5 minutes here to review one or two other movies, as you guys suggested, to review the placements. But first, we got to place Raising Arizona here. So, what do you guys think?
I wouldn't argue against B. I'd be fine with it.
All right.
I think it's better than Leaving Las Vegas.
All right.
Yeah, Leaving Las
So
Vegas is the higher ranked movie for you, Josh.
I don't know. My rankings are all messy, so
okay.
I still wanted to put it in an F. So
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh. So now do we want to talk about any of the other ones? Any revisits we should look at here briefly?
No, they all suck.
You guys were talking a lot about Birdie.
Birdie have had a lot of moments with Matthew Bodine in it and Matthew Modine or however you say his name.
So you rank that a D.
Birdie, yeah, that's yeah. This is actually looking pretty good. This is looking okay, I think.
All right, so we're all happy with Moonstruck being in the D tier, not the C tier.
Are we saying we
I thought it
should
was a
move
decent
up
movie.
Moonstruck? Because I will argue against that.
All right, I think maybe Birdie should go above The Boy in Blue.
I mean, I'd agree with that.
No.
No.
You said Birdie above Boy in Blue?
Yeah, that's all I see here.
No, Birdie sucks.
Boy in Blue sucks worse.
Dude, I don't know, man. Boy in Blue was a pretty legit movie. I think
Boy
it's better
in
than
Blue
Birdie.
was exciting. Birdie was
in what
two
capacity?
grown men jumping around in pigeons.
I know.
Right. I'm back on the Boy in Blue side. Boy in Blue stays above Birdie. All right.
This is a miscarriage of justice.
So Raising Arizona lands in the B tier on Ranking of Cage, and as always, you can see the full ranking list on our website srankmedia.com.